Hello and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to share a quick and easy method to add a glow to your photos, which works very well with winter photos to give it that dreamy look. Creating the glow is quite easy. I will add a live Gaussian blur filter and increase its radius until we get a nice blurred image. Don't forget to turn on the Preserve Alpha checkbox. This blur will be the base for our glow. To get that glow look, we can change the blend mode of this Gaussian blur to lighten. Changing it to lighten will only show the lighter pixels from the blur, which as a result creates a nice glow effect. The glow effect is currently not very visible, so let me increase the blur radius. As I increase the blur radius, a nice glowy dreamy effect emerges. The effect is applied to the whole photo, which is probably not what we want. Luckily, filters in Affinity have a built-in mask, and we can utilize this mask to mask out the effect. I will paint with a black soft brush on the face area to remove the effect from the face, so the face comes back in focus and the glow is only being applied outside the face. Perfect! Let's try to fine-tune this effect a bit further. As the glow is usually coming from the lighter areas, I want the shadows to be not affected as much. There are a couple of ways of achieving this. In this video, I will make use of an HSL adjustment. Once I have my HSL adjustment, I will move it as a clipped child layer of the photo and set its blend mode to darken. Let me also duplicate the Gaussian blur and move it below the HSL layer for the time being. As we don't need the original blur layer for now, I'm going to hide this temporarily. Next, let's make a group from the HSL layer. As only the HSL layer was selected, a group will be created containing the HSL layer only. We will now move the duplicated Gaussian blur layer to become a clipping mask for the group. Let's reset the blend mode of the Gaussian blur back to normal and set the blend mode of the group to lighten. Perfect! We now have a copy of what we started with a difference that we have an additional HSL layer allowing us to control the colors in the darker areas of the glow. As I change the values in the HSL layer, you see how this affects the glow effect. This creates a more contrasty and a more dimmed glow. As a bonus effect, we can also fine-tune the colors in the darker areas. As the HSL adjustment dimmed the glow a bit, let me increase the Gaussian blur of the group to get the glow effect back. Optionally, to get more glow, I can now also enable the initial blur layer and adjust it so it will create this nice glow at the end. Looks pretty amazing. The top Gaussian blur layer is applied as a clipping mask. In order to be able to select all the child layers to show the before, I will move it so it becomes a clipped child instead of a clipping mask. Now, let's have a look at the before and the after. Wonderful! Now, to make it more interesting, we can add some grain or noise to the image. I will use a diffuse filter for this. Let's keep the radius low for now. Next step is to change its blend mode to soft light so it blends more nicely and change the blend range so it affects only the highlights. Now we can increase the radius of the diffuse filter to get that nice grainy effect. If the grain effect is too much, we can of course lower its opacity so it becomes a bit more subtle. To make things more dreamy and interesting, we can also add some bokeh and light effects. Let me paste an image with a nice bokeh. To blend it in, I can set the blend mode to screen, This lightens the image quite a bit, so let's adjust the blend range so it doesn't lighten the darker areas as much. To control the bokeh effect a bit more, I will add a curves layer. The curves layer is on top of the bokeh. I can drag and drop it to the bokeh image, or I can use the Arrange Move Inside menu, so the curves layer becomes a clip child of the bokeh and the adjustments in the curves will only apply to the bokeh image. Now, with the curves layer, I can darken the bokeh image. As the bokeh image has been darkened, the effect of the bokeh will become less. This is because when using a screen blend mode, the darker pixels have a lesser effect. That looks more interesting. We can stack up another bokeh image. The same steps as before. I will set the blend mode to screen and use a curves layer to adjust the blend. However, this time I will increase the reds in the bokeh so it becomes a bit warmer. The curves layer applies to the whole image for now, which is actually also pretty awesome, but I will move it inside the second bokeh so it only applies to the bokeh I just added. Again, a fine-tuning in its opacity, and have a look at that. With a couple of simple adjustments, we made a very interesting composition. Let's apply the same steps to another image. So this time, I will start by adding the HSL layer first and set its blend mode to darken. Let's group it and set the blend mode of the group to lighten. To the group, I will add the Gaussian blur, which creates the first glow. Using the HSL, I will fine-tune the effect. Let's add a bit more glow by increasing the blur radius and mask it out from the face area. Time to add the second glow layer. I will just duplicate the Gaussian blur from the group and move it above the group. Let's not forget to change the blend mode to lighten. Nice! The glow is a bit too much. Time to fine-tune it by adjusting the blur radius. Cool! Let's finish up by using the bokeh image from the previous composition. Let me move the bokeh image so it fits better with this image. Well, this bright part does not look nice, so I will mask that out. Still not happy with it. Well, maybe to use a gradient mask. I can use the gradient tool and paint the gradient in the mask. Much better. I also want to change the color of the bokeh. I'm going to add an HSL adjustment and make it a child of the bokeh image. Now, with the help of the HSL, I can fine-tune it to my liking. This looks about right. Awesome! And there we have it. Let's have a look at the before and the after. I hope you liked this video. And hopefully it has given you some inspiration for your Christmas photos. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked the video and hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Keep safe and keep being creative. Until the next video.